Southern National Motorsports Park is one of iRacing's oldest venues and yet one of the most fun short tracks to go to in all of iRacing.com sim racing that it has to offer. The street stock fits right in that same category as well. It's one of the oldest cars in the sim. It's one of the most fun when you get the right group of guys like we have in the Lucky Motorsports Elevated Performance Street Stocks this season. And all 16 races come down to this one race here at Southern National Motorsports Park, round number 16. The final four ready to do battle at this very racetrack. This is a tough place to get around. If you've run any laps here on iRacing.com before, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Southern National is a toughie, and especially checking in at 4/10 of a mile, 2/5, however you want to look at the fraction, I don't care, 8/20 of a mile. It is a tight racetrack. It is difficult, again, to get around, to pass, to lap consistently. Everything about this racetrack is tough, and it's so good to be here for, of course, well, I hate that it's the final edition, but also love that it's the final edition because we're going to have a really cool race this evening. 65 laps as per usual, but all for the championship. And of course, my name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've done this a little bit out of order. We've been trying to sort out some sound issues in the background and still get the broadcast going. So we properly welcome everybody, of course, to Pit Stop TV. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. Zach Murtis alongside of me. Heck yeah, love to have him back. And of course, this broadcast brought to you by Lucky Motorsports. Lucky Motorsports Solutions. There we go. Elevated Performance, Whiplash Simcams, and CC's Business. Let's talk about the track, though, Zach. Lucama, North Carolina, home to one really cool racetrack.
Absolutely. I've been to this racetrack a few times in person myself. Haven't had the chance to race here just yet, but I've turned to many laps on the sim, and I can absolutely tell you 100% there will be carnage tonight. There will be carnage like you have not seen in many of these races so far. It's always tight here at Southern National. The bottom line is always the preferred line, especially through all these corners. It's a little bit like Bristol, where it has two pit lanes, but I think we'll only be using the front stretch pit for tonight due to our car count. And really, Andrew, I mean, you can utilize the top here as well, but it seems like the preferred way to get around this racetrack is most definitely going to be the bottom.
Absolutely. Bottom of the racetrack will be the place to be. You can defend from the top side, and on some restarts, we may see the leader go to the top and try to defend there. And I think we'll see some interesting multi-groove racing, but for the most part, it's the bottom where you want to be. Let's talk about point standings, though. This is the final race. Now, we have these point standings for you to look at, see where everybody stands, but we have a Final Four format. So bear in mind that Zach Shucker, Tim George, David Levine, and Tyler Langenberg are all tied. They all have 0 points for the purpose of this championship. It's the highest finishing driver that will win tonight's, well, this season's title. Now, Addison Cook, Brandon Marshall, they can all still race for different positions and points, and we will still take a final points tally, but for the purpose of the championship, everybody in the Final Four is reset to 0. Highest finisher will take it. And Zach, it's been a few races since you've actually been with us. You were going to broadcast North Wilkesboro with us, then you got to go on the racetrack and battle with these guys. But now that we check in for this final race of the season, boy, of course, a lot has changed, and I honestly cannot believe that it's gone by this quickly. We got those 3 road courses out of the way, all these different ovals in between, some fantastic racetracks, and now here we are for the finale.
You say it went by that quickly. Andrew, we started this in October. It's February. We're going on March now. This league started before, right as daylight savings time was ending, and now it's about to start up again. What, in like 2 weeks?
It about spans the gap, yeah, because if you back this up, it'd be right when daylight savings time ended in its beginning, or however it works. Anyways, yeah, I think it ended. I think technically it ends in November, and you're right. If we back the season up, we go right to the beginning of daylight savings time again, or however that works. Daylight savings time can go away. I don't think anybody needs it in 2024. But Zach, we do have another Zach to talk to. In fact, the guy who got his very first win this season in the race that you took part in, Zach Shucker, is our points champion this season, at least to the Final Four cutoff. And Zach, as we get ready for the final race of this season, of course, you were in a similar boat in the late model stock last season, racing with Tim and George for the championship, but now we're opening it up twofold. Almost 3 or 4, however many folds, because not only are there 4 drivers in contention tonight, you being one of them, you guys are all reset to 0. That's a big challenge, but we've been doing it in the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series for a while. How are you going to use all of that knowledge and even your iRacing knowledge to approach this one and be the top of those final 4?
Honestly, I think it just depends on how you feel, what you have in your car and your ability over the course of the race compared to the guys around you. You know, if you're on the back foot, I think you gotta be a little more aggressive with strategy to try to get up front. This track is a little bit hard to pass in these cars, but if you're comfortable, run your own race, keep your nose clean, just do what you can do, and don't overdrive or overthink anything while you're behind the wheel.
And usually in oval racing, we have road course ringers. The guys that show up just for road courses, they're electric fast. They tend to either win those races or just do really, really well in the NASCAR series. Here, though, we have something a little bit different. We have the short oval ringers, I guess, the short track ringers. Stephen Rex, Travis Suka, Brent Meckes currently pacing practice, but you are kind of the best of the rest. 4th quick, the fastest so far of all of our LMS regulars. How do you keep yourself in that position, but also try to get the guys ahead, kind of build a cushion? That's an interesting dynamic.
As much as I want to go out and show them that they're not as fast as they think they are, it's not my race. If I'm there ahead of them, absolutely, you know, I'm going to just do what I can to maintain, or if they get a big run and I got a gap, just let them go. There's no need to fight them. A couple of them I know are a little aggressive, and I want to stay away from that. But, you know, I've been focusing on race runs this whole practice. I know I got a little time left in it in the mock quali run. I know a couple of them have done it. I've been watching their lap counts and kind of seeing what they're doing. So, you know, I don't really care. They're not my race today. Let's just focus on the other 3 guys and do what we can do.
I can certainly respect that, Zach. And one more question. It's the question of the day for you 4 title contenders. Obviously, we're not paying some massive payout. There aren't, hundreds of thousands of dollars up for grabs for this one. But let's imagine for a second that there were. This is $1 million to win the championship. Who knows? We're here with the Super Bowl. The classic line is, "I'm taking my family to Disneyland." If this did pay some exorbitant amount of money, Zach, pretend a little bit, where would you be going? What would you be doing? I guess with all those bragging rights.
We'd go on a cruise. I think that's been kind of my wish list recently. So either a cruise or go to Hawaii. I don't know which. Or possibly go to Europe, because there's some places over there I'd like to see. But you know, we may even do the old Ricky Stenhouse and take the trophy to the Waffle House and set it on the table and have a nice late breakfast, dinner, but whatever you want to call it.
I think everything applies depending on where you are in the world or what time zone you want to be, I guess, subject to. But Zach, solid answer. Best of luck tonight. You, of course, you're the top points finisher in the series, which means you take seed number 2, only because Tim had more wins. And, of course, all the dynamics that we already talked about. And, hey, your buddy Sean is right behind you in practice. It looks like you have a gap for the guys behind, so best of luck. Maybe we're talking to you at the end of this one as the champion.
Let's hope for it. I know me and Sean both are pretty similar on setups right now, so that's a positive.
There you go.
We'll look forward to seeing you after.
Absolutely. Zach Shucker, car 48, ready to do battle this evening. Let's go down and grab Tyler Langenberg now. Driver of the 91 car, and qualified for this Final Four without a win at all. Tyler, you're kind of our 2014 Ryan Newman. No wins at all in the season. You make the Final Four, and you're going to do your best at the very least to go out there and upset these guys that have race wins and locked into the Final Four a bit earlier. How do you do that?
Honestly, I'm just gonna drive around, do my best, hope the calamity that happens to the other three. So that's just my general plan for tonight. I really do like this track. We'll just have to see what happens after these 65 laps.
It's a tough place to get around, and at this point, of course, I'm sure you focused a little bit on short run speed, a little bit on long run speed in practice, kind of trying a little bit of each. Is there any concern, I guess, for you sitting ninth, just on the bottom half of this speed chart right now, and maybe anything you need to do, or are you really not concerned about that?
Yeah, I'm generally not really concerned about where I am in the practice. Just practice doesn't really pay anything, you know. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, Tyler, question of the day for you Final Four. We just asked Zach Shucker for his input on it, but of course, this isn't paying some exorbitant amount of money, but let's pretend that it was for the championship tonight. $100,000, a few $100,000, $1 million, who knows? Imagine that it's paying that kind of sum of money. If you win tonight, what would you be doing? Would you be taking the family to Disneyland, going on a cruise like Zach Shucker? What would you be doing with that? Putting our pretend caps on for a minute.
If I strike the lottery tonight, I'd probably build a production car racing, like Lucky Dog Racing Series up over in the South. Maybe Champ Car. I don't know.
There you go. Sounds like Tyler's taking the race car direction. And you know what? You know who can help him with that is Lucky Motorsports Solutions. Tyler, thank you for your time. Best of luck. Hopefully we're talking to you a bit later on.
10-4. Hope to see you.
Tyler Langenberg, car number 91, has a pretty good shot, honestly, considering he's faster in practice than Tim George. And who knows what's going to happen in qualifying into the race. I would not at all shy away from the idea that Tyler could be this season's champion. But let's also go down and talk to three-time winner, number 1 seed in the season, Tim George, car double lot. Tim, it's been a while since we've talked to you, a little bit of a dry spell for the podium, but you come in here, the number 1 seed, 3 wins on the season. How do you try to kind of rekindle some of that early season magic, maybe go back to victory lane, or at the very least, win this championship?
Andrew, I don't know. It has been a while since I've been up here with you. I like what you've done with the booth. It's a nice temperature in here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do to bring back that early magic. Just hope and pray for the best. Hope to nail it on the pit stop strategy. And just hope to be there at the end, up at the front. And we'll see what happens.
And of course, it's been very much back and forth, different kinds of winners, a lot of parity this season. You do have the most, though. Is there maybe some kind of chip on your shoulder that you got to get back? I mean, we just kind of talked about rekindling that magic, but is there like a chip on your shoulder? Maybe you have guys targeting you. How do you balance the dynamic? There's a lot, honestly, that you guys have to work with this evening. You have your short track ringers that are up in the front in practice right now. You're a little ways down in practice sheet. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Is that maybe overwhelming?
No, I'm just going to take this one lap at a time and just try to be up front towards the end. Hopefully I can be in front of the other 3 guys when the checker flag falls. I mean, ideally I'd like to win the race, but as long as I'm ahead of all 3 of those other guys, I'll take it.
We maybe see a little bit of speed out of you that we're just not seeing right now in practice?
I don't know. We'll have to wait till we get to race time and find out.
And Tim, we have this kind of question of the day for you Final Four. Of course, we're not paying some big sum of cash, but imagine for a moment that we are. If it's $1 million, a few $100,000, whatever. There's that classic line at the Super Bowl or the World Series, taking my family to Disneyland. So get yourself in that mindset for a second. If you win the championship tonight, pretend that it pays like $1 million. What are you doing? Are you going somewhere? Are you buying something, investing it? What are you doing if you win this championship and it did pay that kind of money?
If it did pay that kind of money, I think I would invest it into a shop that I've been spending a lot of time at recently, the LMS shop, Lucky Motorsports Solutions. That way we can build some really kick-ass cars to bring people into racing that have probably never done racing before and just want to kind of get their feet wet. Really like to make that those dreams come true for some people that just are wanting to experiencing racing for the first time.
I had to hold myself back from saying good answer, good answer. That was a pretty good answer with the plug there for LMS. And well, best of luck. Of course, 65 laps ahead, a little bit of qualifying in between. Best of luck to you. Hopefully you get back to that kind of winning way, that magic we saw early in the season.
I sure hope so, and I hope to be back up here in the booth with you when this thing's done and over with.
Well, there's Tim George, car 00, getting ready for this evening. And we'll also, of course, grab our final four competitor. It's the guy who actually comes in as the number 3 seed, David Levine. This is going to be a tough one, David. You're smack in the middle of practice sheet right now, or the practice times. Just a little bit faster than Tyler Langenberg, a little bit slower than Zach Shucker, even a little bit faster than Tim George. How much, though, is practice meaning to you in your pursuit of this championship tonight?
For me, overall lap time does not mean anything. It's all about long run pace and being there at the end and having a car underneath you that's going to be able to be there for the whole length of the run. So that's, for me, I couldn't really care less about overall speed and pace. I think I've got probably 2 30-lap runs in practice so far, and then a couple of maybe 10-lappers. So it's for me just focus on the end game.
We've actually seen you, I think, be the most creative with tire strategy, pit stop strategy. Of course, we require drivers to make at least 1 pit stop for a change of tires. Now, it can be 2, it can be left or right, doesn't matter. It can be 4 if you want. We've seen you get very, very creative, especially the last couple of months. Is there something you have in mind, maybe without spilling all the beans? Do you have a plan, or is it really just hold on by the seat of your pants, see what happens, wing it, and just try to take the best, I guess, grasp of whatever opportunity you have ahead?
I think tonight's going to be about track position. As I say, I'm not really too concerned about qualifying. I say track position. So it's going to be get what I can in qualifying while still, be in a safe lap. I don't necessarily care if it's the fastest or not, as long as I'm not on the back couple rows. And then it's going to be do everything I can up till the halfway break, come in and see where the tires are at and go from there. I think that's probably going to be what we're all going to do tonight is that I don't think I think tire fall off here is going to be too much for too much to try to do something crazy like we could at some of the road courses or some of the other tracks where tire wear is not as big of a thing. I think we're not going to be able to get away with that today.
And David, we have a question of the day for you Final Four. Of course, this championship is not paying out some kind of crazy amount of cash, but let's imagine for a second that it is. Imagine maybe that it's like the Super Bowl where everybody says that they're taking their family to Disneyland or the World Series or whatever. Kind of put yourself in that mindset. If you win this championship tonight, what is your, I guess, metaphorical taking the family to Disneyland? What would you be doing with it? What would you do? Would you invest it in something? Would you go on a trip? What would you be doing?
That's a fantastic question. I was not prepared for that one, I can tell you that. Oh gosh, if I were to win a virtual $1 million, first thing I'd be getting you guys a brand new car, and the rest of it would probably be going into the Lucky Motorsports Solutions shop here. There's a couple things that we need: trucks, trailers, lifts, some more tools, toolboxes, and maybe get to actually pay Melvin, Tim, and some of the interns. So it'd be nice if we were racing for that, but unfortunately we're not. That's a
Hey, if you're buying, I'll gladly take a new car.
all right. You know what? Let's go. That just means you got to race with us too, there, Murders.
Okie dokie. I'll never pass up a chance. Pass up. My goodness, I caught Andrew's loose tongue or whatever when he can't talk.
We're not even
words
touching
are hard,
that one.
boys.
Well, David, it was good to talk to you, certainly, before this race gets going. Practice wrapping up in 25 seconds. Sometimes it seems like that's all you need. Best of luck, though, David. Hopefully we're talking to you later.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Good old David Levine. And you know what, Zach? My takeaway there, Zach Shucker, rather. I think he's already planning on the postseason. He's already planning on winning this championship. He was the most ready for an answer. and he's already thinking about going on a cruise. The rest of these guys, they're, race cars, race car this, race car that, which is great. Love that, admire that. But Zach is already kind of planning on what he'd be doing after the season if this were the NASCAR Cup Series or something like that. That is my takeaway. And maybe that frame of mind will work, maybe it won't. But that, I think, is the interesting little connection that I make from all of that, and I think will be very interesting to pay attention to as qualifying opens up on the racetrack and we can properly get into the sim for the first time this evening and take a look what we have for these drivers. Waiting on... well, cars. We are getting cars out there. There we go. So Tim George and a whole bunch of other guys are heading to the track. There's him actually stopping, so let's go out there with Jack Gunsit, car 73, and see what these guys have to offer. Also, you'll see it on the ticker here, left side of the screen. All of the Final Four drivers, all 4 of them have a special number board on the ticker this evening. Very important to take note of, as Tyler Langenberg puts it to good use, top of the board in qualifying lap number 1.
Nice and Cook, top of the board right there again. 15-11. Langenberg back across the line. Does not improve.
Hello,
Zach
48
Zucker.
car.
Ooh.
That was lap 1. You might have something here.
Paint scheme, too.
That it is. Stephen Rex answers. It's a 14.977 for Zach
That's not
Shucker
improved.
across the line. He will just go slower. About the margin of that Atlanta finish on Sunday. That's pretty darn close. Tim George back on the racetrack. Car de Blot. He won the first 3 races of this season. Go back to Charlotte, Lakeland, and Langley for those races. But out of turn number 4, a lap 1 for Tim. Actually, that is the final lap. That was lap 2. That's all that's going to count for Tim. It's a 15.575. He's 12th. That is abysmal at best.
That is not what you want to see, especially when you're in the Final Four right now. The only Final Four driver left, well, he's on your screen right now. That's David Levine. You can see him here setting up the lap. It's what a lot of these short track drivers do. They run high coming to the start-finish line and then cut it low to carry as much momentum, as much speed as they possibly can to get these cars set for a solid lap. And the first lap is probably going to be his best lap as David Levine comes off turn number 4. And that is going to be a 50.09, or 15.09, excuse me. That would be best for about 7th position, putting him on the inside.
That's not too bad. That's not too shabby. 15.0 is a pretty good lap, I think, with this group. And across the line for lap number 2. And he'll pick up a little bit of time, and he moves ahead of Brandon Marshall, so up to row number 3, which is, again, pretty interesting because that puts him right behind Zach Shucker to get this race started. And, I mean, it gets him extra ground between himself. He would have been starting right in front of Tyler Langenberg. So extra bit of cushion there to Tyler. He's right up on the back end of Zach Shucker. And how about the fact that Travis Sukup absolutely blew qualifying as we take a look at the screen, the timing screen on the left side. Absolutely messed up that run. That is much lower than we're used to seeing Travis. 12th position. And those guys, Travis Sukup, Stephen Rex, Brent Meckes, they are a part of the team Dropping Bombs Racing. And so for somebody like Zach, who's missed a bunch of races, they came in kind of mid-season, kind of early to mid-season, and absolutely tore up the short tracks and showed these guys what for, but admittedly, I think didn't quite have the same preparation for those road courses we hit mid-season. Kind of fell back. They've been part-time all season long, but have been a lot of fun to watch. 2 of them qualify in the top 3. How about Traber Burns as well, qualifying 2nd in car 541. But to see Travis Sukup that far down after pacing practice rather, very, very interesting. And it could just be that he doesn't have the short run pace, but he's got that long run pace. Who knows? A whole host of things may be going on, but very, very interesting qualifying results nonetheless as you take a look on the left side of your screen. And Zach, how about those weather conditions? It's pretty warm for a February night out in eastern North Carolina.
83 degrees on a February. My goodness, I'd love to be outside in 83-degree weather right now. That would be amazing. But I'll tell you, someone who's taking advantage of that 83-degree weather right now, Sean O'Hara is still on the racetrack running practice laps after his qualifying session is over. So he's definitely trying to get a feel for those air and track conditions right now, seeing how things are really starting to play out for tonight.
We talked about the schedule earlier on. I just want to come back and highlight this. We've seen a lot of races, of course, well, 16, I guess 15 technically, because of North Wilkesboro, but a lot of completely different races over the course of the season. If this track is going to compare to any, I think Bristol is about the only one. It's going to be a mix of Bristol and Lanier. I think the only two tracks you can kind of relate to Southern National Motorsports Park. So if you go back to Bristol, that was one race that David Levine won. If you go back to Lanier, oh man, I think that might have been, you know what? That was Michael Melvin, who's not even in the field tonight. So look, if you're crossing Bristol and Lanier for the hybrid that is Southern National Motorsports Park, maybe you have something there with David Levine. Who knows? He won at Bristol, another high bank track here this evening. And you just have to be the top finisher, which I think is, of course, interesting criteria to have to meet in a race like this, but you just have to be the top finisher of the four. But let's get back into the sim and see what we've got on the starting grid. On pole position this evening, car number 7, Steven Rex, will lead us to the final green flag of the season. Traber Burns joins us from position number 2. He'll start from second. Outside of row 1, I think his best starting position of the season. Really cool to see there for Traber. Starting from the 3rd spot, though, Brent Meckus, teammate to our pole sitter, while Zach Shucker will be the top of our championship 4 in the starting grid. He'll start from 4th. Starting 5th is young phenom Wyatt Roberts. To the outside, though, in row number 3 is David Levine, another one of our Championship 4 competitors. Brandon Marshall, Addison Cook, they split things up a little bit. They'll start in row 4 before we get down to Tyler Langenberg, down in 9th position. Joey Tack on his outside. And further back, Zach, you have to drop a ways to get to Tim George. He is starting from the final row on the grid, back here in 15th position. That's not where he should be.
Yeah, not what you want to see out of a championship competitor, as we see the drivers take the one to green right here. And Tim George has definitely got his work cut out for him tonight. And Andrew, are you saying this is going to be a caution-free race? You said that Steven Rex would be leading us to the final green flag of the season.
I see what you're going for there. Who knows? But we'll take a look at what's going on, I guess, in just a moment. Let's take the green flag for the final time this season. Steven Rex will lead us to the initial green, the start. There we go. Green flag is out at Southern National Motorsports Park. The championship coming into focus for some. Lap 1 complete. And crash in the back. That is already a big problem for Tim George, Sean O'Hara, Jack Gunsett, and it looks like Scott Myers as well. We will get the caution now. Well,
that was a hard hit for Scott Myers. My goodness.
That takes me right back to the Whiplash SimCam's race details. We hadn't even gotten to them yet. We were going to right before the start, ran out of time. Let's take a look as we ride on board with Tim George for this crash. 65 laps of the stage break, that 1 required pit stop, up to 3 green-white checkers, and the bottom line is the most important here. Damage healing enabled. Scott Myers got loose. Big hit to the inside wall, and Sean O'Hara, Tim and George were not far behind, along with Jack Gunsett. Big crash, lap 1.
Now this is where damage healing does come in for these drivers, and makes it a lot easier for them to continue on. As if this was a usual race where you didn't see damage healing, that would be Tim George's championship hunt over before it even started.
And thankfully it isn't, but that would bring me right back to the championship 4 and needing to execute. If you miss it in qualifying like that, I mean, I don't know really what anybody's got for you. Racing in the Final 4, this is nothing personal against him, but starting from 15th, that's not very good odds. I can't think of a time I've ever seen a Final 4 driver start that deep in the percentage of the field and win the championship in NASCAR. But green flag is back out. Steven Rex leading us to that one as well. Quick and easy first lap from the restart. And never mind, Brandon Marshall around, car 71. Big crash, Tyler Langenberg in it. Tim George comes up on it. Wow.
Oh boy. We are really getting the elbows out tonight, aren't we, Andrew?
Something like that. Let's see, that starts off I remember saying who it was. Brandon Marshall, 71 car. They're already crashing in this replay. That is a couple of really big hits. Gunson and Marshall there at the end again. A couple of big hits. Langenberg is swept up in it. Let's get another look, though. We'll get it from our tower cam when they come around turn 4 in a second. Marshall was 5th, then 4th. Gets a tap there from Wyatt Roberts. Goes for a spin. Gets a piece of Zach Shucker. And then up into the other championship competitor, Tyler Langenberg. The only Final Four driver that really got by that was David, because Tim still had to jam on the brakes.
You see Championship 4 drivers being caught up in mess after mess. And only in the first 10 laps of the race, we see another look there from the back bumper cam of Brandon Marshall. And there are the impacts with all of those drivers. Scott Myers makes it through. Well, re-rack them, restack them, Andrew.
iRacing.com pace car lights stay illuminated, signifying that we will not be restarting this time around. We do have some takers already in the pit lane. Brent Meckes is one of them. It looks like he even went for tires. This is an interesting move, but you know what? We've already clicked off 10 laps, so quite honestly, he might be onto something. It's going to be a stretch, but he might be onto something there. Sean O'Hara also visiting the pit lane, and that time indicates usually a 4-tire stop. So currently, Sean O'Hara holds the fastest pit stop of the race, brought to you by Elevated Performance. And what a partner they've been for us this season, allowing this season to happen, partnering up with this series now for 2 straight seasons, and bringing us this restart as well. Restart number 2 on the evening, lap 11, and we are back underway. Wyatt Roberts moving backwards quickly on the restart. Steven Rex gets out to a lead. Trevor Burns second. Roberts third. Marshall comes on through and takes third after just being in a crash. And Zach Shucker will take over the 4th position.
And saw Shucker get right there on the back bumper of Roberts going through the corner. Was able to get him a little loose, not turn him, but enough to be able to get underneath that 42 car and put himself up into the 4th position. But look out, David Levine right there behind him with 7 car taking the fastest lap of the race that time by.
Steven Rex setting some big time flyers to 29, in trouble and crash. No, I thought that was a crash for sure. Glad it was saved.
He looked like he was going to the right at the edge of the screen back there, but keeps it under wraps as we got a move for 2nd place. Brandon Marshall, Trevor Burns. Nothing just yet, but that sets the move up for Zach Shucker to try and take a look.
He certainly pressured Brandon. Marshall missed the corner big time. He pressed R2 to intimidate. That's what happened.
Absolutely. Pressured him into a mistake. Don't get that hole closed too soon, because here comes David Levine. Taking a look down to the inside underneath Brandon Marshall. Not there quite yet. Going to fall back in line. Single file going down the back straightaway.
David follows there through 3 and 4, right on the back end of car 71. Oh, a bit free maybe? Or was that a block? No, he's actually letting Sukup go by. That might allow him to take advantage if Travis can get to Brandon to make quick work of the 71. The other possible, I guess, theory there is David sitting back and saving tires. I'm not so sure what that's going to do, other than maybe saving the left sides for a 2-tire stop later. Otherwise, I really feel like even if tires matter in this street stock, you've got to be pushing if you're in the Championship 4 and watching your main championship rival drive away.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Andrew. Because think of it this way: if you save tires now, stage break comes out, able to take 2 tires, shorter pit stop, more track position. Track position is key here at Southern National, and if you can't have that track position, well, you're just going to end up going backwards, especially if you're stuck up on that outside line.
That 2-tire stop, though, I think is guaranteed, just because of the amount of time it'll take and how quickly you can lose a lap here. I don't think you'll see a single lead car take more than 2 tires, unless they have especially burned their tires off. I think Suka might be a contender for that, but considering he's driving through the field like he is right now, I think it's going to be 2 tires all around, and I suppose we'll get our answer sheet about 10 laps or so, but I really, I don't know. I question it, but we'll see if it works out, as Steven Rex has a 2-second lead over Trevor Burns. But Zach, it's just good to have you back.
Oh, it's good to be back. Love to see these guys tear it up on the racetrack, and I always like to go out there and show which of the better Zachs is able to get on the racetrack. need to settle a score next season. But on board here with Tyler Langenberg, one of your championship competitors, the third in line out of these championship competitors. Tim George only about 2 spots right behind him. And Addison Cook, the driver who was looking in on the championship 4, only missed it by about 10 points. Is now losing track position to Tim George here, which puts him right behind Tyler Langenberg.
Yeah, so Tim trying to become the number 3 driver at the very least of our final 4 as Addison Cook gets tipped around by Joey Tackett. That might be a yellow. They're stopped.
Stuck.
Where are the leaders?
rolling.
They get, well, Joey's stopped.
There they are.
Tackett trying to draw the yellow, and here come our leaders to go on by. There goes Stephen Rex. The 3 is still slow. Addison Cook nearly got in the way there of the 7 car, and we stay green. They get back rolling.
Not too sure about that one there, Andrew. I feel like it could have been easily a yellow, but things tend to happen as we see David Levine looking underneath the 45 of Sukup, and looks like they're going to fall back in line and stay single file right behind Brandon Marshall.
Like Travis is getting aggressive here with Brandon Marshall for the 4th position. David wants none of it. Lets Travis keep doing his thing, and oh, he rolls up on the 71 there. What can he do down in turn number 3 as we work lap 29? No move there.
Definitely going to be very difficult to make a pass. Getting on the back bumper on corner exit, usually you want to get the bumper to him right there on corner entry, but I don't think he's going for the more bump and run as we take a look to the inside once again. Side by side for the 4th spot, Brandon Marshall up the racetrack. They'll be next to each other now coming into turn 1, and David Levine is just looking at it saying, keep on going. I'll take a free spot. Thank you very much.
That's what Sukup needed, that clear move to the inside to get right alongside, perfectly alongside in the corner, and Sukup will drive away now in the 45 car, you think. Should have him clear this time through the corner, if not the next time. And David will, well, there we go. That's our stage break.
One thing that I don't know if you noticed it, I noticed it a little bit towards the end, but it seems like Tim George has gotten by Tyler Langenberg, and he was getting up there in that fight to be able to try and pass Wyatt Roberts to get to David Levine. He is working himself back up through this field.
He is, and I think we have to take note of that for sure as our leaders, everybody comes down the pit lane. Things happen quickly in this pit lane. I don't think you'll see anybody stay out under this yellow, but let's watch. Zach Shucker in the 48. You see David Levine a little ways back.
They're stopped at the entrance of pit road. Big pileup.
Tim George is able to get to the pit lane at least before that happened. We do see some cars staying out. Zach Shucker, though, down and away with just 2 tires on the car. How about David Levine? He's down and away. Oh, it's not loading his pit stop time.
That's concerning.
Tyler Langenberg with 2 tires. Tim George, again, it's not loading their times, but based on where they come out in the order, I'd say certainly 2 tire stops for them, as now we see other cars hitting the pit lane. Jack Gunsett, Kevin O'Hara, and some others. And it sounds like Kevin O'Hara is one of those drivers, certainly Sean O'Hara was, involved in that melee trying to get to the pit lane.
Notice it out of the back of the screen. You can see Tyler Langenberg pulling off right here.
Oh!
Sean O'Hara almost missed the pit lane.
Wow.
There's the front bumper torn off the front end of that race car.
I'm just not even sure what else to say, as we see the 2 tires going on there for the 59, and the same for the 00. That was certainly a bit of extra excitement that nobody knew we needed, but we did. And you know what? Brent Meckes has the track position now with his teammate, Stephen Rex, going to restart along with him. And we do also have the choose cone here. And I have no clue where these guys are going to go, but they'll make it obvious here at the start-finish line. Well, between turn 4 and the start-finish. So watch this as one car snakes through the field. I think that's Jack Gunsett. Kevin O'Hara, rather.
Wave around.
So bottom for the teammates. Zach Shucker goes top. He'll restart second. David Levine stays conservative down low. Tyler Langenberg will move up. And I didn't actually catch where the 00 is going. Tim will line up, it looks like, 9th. I mean, Langenberg is going to line up 6th. David's going to line up 7th. He just gave up track position. But Zach Shucker, the opportunist he is, will restart 2nd to kick off half number 2 of the final race of the season. Green flag back out. Mekis on old tires, he's your leader. Steven Rex down low, everybody just trying to find where they belong. Travis Sukup up here, and for the championship right now, it's Zach Shucker taking the race lead across the stripe that time by.
Almost 3 wide, as you saw Mekis get very, very loose coming off of turn number 2. David Levine has been able to put himself past Tyler Langenberg as they are 2 by 2, 3 rows deep. Nobody's giving an inch right now. You would think that all of these drivers were running for a championship, but it's just Zach Shucker who's powering on the outside line.
Mekis has got to be careful here. This is going to be treading some thin ice, racing against the lead championship competitor. Thankfully, though, even if something does happen, damage will fix itself. Damage healing enabled, I think, has really helped these guys kind of mitigate anything like that. So even if something does go awry, Zach can get back in the race. You mentioned it, though. David Levine up into the 6th spot, now 5th, actually, as he's scored. And Tim George working through the field. He's into 7th.
Yeah, and he is right there on the bottom behind Brandon Marshall as there's contact for the race lead, but Shucker is now fully clear, taking the race lead away. 3 wide for second.
3 wide between teammates. Mekis will back out, but he's right in the way of Brandon Marshall and David Levine. He's going to pop up in front of the 59 car, and we'll see what David and Tim are able to do. They usually try to work together, but at this point, we have 21 laps to go. You've got to get moving.
Yeah, Levine gets clear of Brandon Marshall and is able to fall in line to the bottom. Now he just needs to get that track position as Tim George is still trying to make the outside line work. Not clear down low. So he is stuck hanging out there, but it looks like he will finally get clear of Brandon Marshall, fall in line behind David Levine, as everyone seems to be single filing out.
And for the race lead, Steven Rex going to challenge Zach Shucker, who's got a few laps led now. 7 car dominated the opening half of this race, and now teammates from Dropping Bombs Racing are descending upon car number 48. We'll see how that works as Tim George brings the fight to David Levine. David lets him take it. Tim might have something late in this race. He's starting to work up here, and if these guys rough the 48 up, who knows?
Yeah, Zach Shucker being stuck on the outside line for this long is not good. He's burning up his tires out there, just not being able to get to the bottom. So he needs to get down there as quickly as possible. If I were Shucker, I wouldn't be worrying about this race win. I'm more concerned about the big picture, the championship picture, as Tim George is only 3 spots behind him.
At the same time, that's his only cushion. If he keeps these guys behind him, he knows he has that cushion, and he knows they're likely a little bit faster even now than the 00 car. So if he can hold these guys right where they are, even if he loses the top spot, that might actually be a cushion that he needs now as we work 15 laps to go this next time by the flag stand. 15 to go there, and Rex will take over the race lead outright.
15 laps to go. 15 laps between Zach Shucker and a championship as we see a fight now with Traber Burns looking to the inside of Tim George. George is not going to give him an inch. He is trying to make sure that he can keep his championship dreams alive as they are now side by side rolling through turn 2 down the back straightaway.
Traber has clearly found some speed. He doesn't care about Tim George's fight. It's kind of one of those things where if you're that concerned about it, I guess you got to be faster. And you know what? Tim gets faster there. A mistake out of Traber, and the 00 gets clear, at least for a moment. But that 541 car is quick tonight.
Big time loose back there for Traber Burns. Levine into the wall. Langenberg hit the wall a little bit back there as David is trying to find a way around, seeing what he can do to make this car.
Contact there.
Traber Burns.
Yeah, I saw that coming as Sean O'Hara gets way free. But David moves the 541 out of his way and lets it become Wyatt Roberts' problem. As up ahead, Zach Shucker has pretty well taken over position number 2. He's got some space now to the 45 car, and it would take an awful lot to change things without a caution.
You say caution, and I start to think back to the most recent restart that we had not too many laps ago. These drivers needed to figure out what they could do on the choose cone to be able to put themselves in position. And I think Zach Shucker really benefited from choosing the outside. He didn't inherit the lead, but he was able to keep that track position. You had drivers like David Levine. He gave up 3-4 spots on that choose cone by not choosing the outside. If David had chosen the outside, he would have been right behind Shucker on the restart. Now he finds himself in the 6th position behind Tim George with only 8 laps to go.
And I think I think what scared those guys like David and Tim is they had seen guys like Traver Burns and Wyatt Roberts, no offense to them, but they absolutely fumbled the restarts that they had earlier in the race when they restarted from second. I don't know if they just couldn't quite gauge when the leader went. I don't know, but they absolutely fumbled the bag entirely, and I think they got scared off by that. Zach Shucker, though, saw the window of opportunity, took it, and I think is going to win the championship because of it, unless we have a caution flag or the 45 moves him here. Who knows? And that was 6 laps to go. Travis might want the spot that bad. I don't know, but I think those earlier restarts scared those guys.
Absolutely. You can see just how it would affect someone being able to just put your car in a position where it might be able to benefit as we see 5 laps to go. But sometimes it's that driver mentality. You see how other drivers are responding to a different lane or a different strategy, and you think, well, maybe I should just stick to my strategy, and maybe it's going to go a lot better than what theirs was, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're not as fast as the drivers you're racing, you have to take those risks to put yourself in a position where just because you might not beat them on speed, you might beat them on strategy.
It, of course, isn't over yet, but 3 laps to go for Zach Shucker, our current championship leader. He put a bunch of points together here late in the season, became the outright points leader just in time for the Final 4 cutoff. Comes in as seed number 2 tonight. And while there are some lap cars ahead, that's now popsicle sticks in the air. It's looking good for car 48.
Absolutely. He only has about 6 more corners to navigate, and his closest competition is more than 3 seconds behind him.
White flag is out for the final time this season, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Brent Meckes, everybody else working through these lap cars. Zach Shucker, it looks like, will be able to quietly work his way to a Lucky Motorsports Solutions Elevated Performance Street Stock Championship. Zach Shucker is going on that cruise.
And Tim George is putting David Levine in the wall. They wreck across the line. Well now, that was not something anybody expected to see.
Well, Zach Shucker, at the very least, we'll catch up on the rest here in a moment, but Zach Shucker is your champion this evening, this season, which is absolutely extraordinary for car 48. I'd have to check the tapes. Didn't he win the late model stock championship too?
He just might have. I will have to check the tapes as well. But it seems like Zach Shucker is clearly in winning mode as he is walking it down the front straightaway.
I should have had that stat ready. It's just been that kind of crazy week, but I'm pretty sure car 48 won it at IRP a season ago. And if I go back and check here, I got to find the right broadcast, but he went in, I know, in a battle with Tim George, and I'm pretty certain that it was the 48 car that won it. Anyways, maybe I'll leave that up to you as we get ready to talk to Zach Shucker here in just a moment. And kudos to the rest of these guys up front. Steven Rex, Travis Suka, Brent Meckes. Kudos to them. But this is our focus this evening. Car number 48 goes to victory lane, and rightly so. We'll be able to do some celebration burnouts and such as he already has been. Absolutely deserving of it.
Absolutely. You can see trying to do the burnout against the wall, a classic seen by a lot of NASCAR drivers, a lot of racing champions, as Zach Shucker burns it down. And definitely an amazing performance tonight by Shucker. He did an outstanding job to put that car in a position to be able to win the championship tonight.
We'll be able to take a look back at our unofficial race results here in just a moment. What a race. What a race. That went by so quickly too. That really went by in a hurry. I never thought these 65 laps to end the season would be completed that quickly, Zach. That green flag run to the end after the stage break. I know it wasn't officially the last green flag when we took the green flag for the start of the race, but it was darn close the way everything worked out this evening. Let's take a look at those unofficial race results, though. Steven Rex with the race win. Zach Shucker will take home the championship by finishing ahead of the rest. This is kind of rare. You don't see this kind of separation in a Final Four format. Tim George way back in 7th, David Levine in 9th. They had some extracurricular to the line, but really deep in the field. They were at least running, I think, 5th and 6th. Still, just off the mark for cars 00 and 59.
Yeah, it's kind of heartbreaking, especially since I had $30 on David to win the championship. But hey, that's the way bets roll sometimes. It happens, but you know, we roll through the rest of the field. Joey Tackett, Tyler Langenberg, the lowest driver out of your championship four, just caught up in a few different scenarios tonight that didn't exactly play in his favor. And Addison Cook, Jack Gunset, Kevin O'Hara, and Scott Myers, your four drivers that finished a lap down tonight. And Andrew, I believe there are championships, or excuse me, I believe there is a champion waiting to talk to us.
Well, we first want to go back and take a look at whatever happened that last lap. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. This might have been friends just kind of having fun the last lap. I'm not really sure. But we can go ahead and bring the B-roll down and take a look. This is the last lap for David Levine and Tim George. David gets into Tim there, already gets the double O loose. That was just, I think, two friends racing to the end of the season.
Yeah, I think they just realized, hey, we're not going to be able to win this championship. We're just going for second. Let's just get after it, see what we can do. Just ride on board here with David Levine.
This is a lap or two prior, so this is a little bit beforehand. We'll just kind of watch this develop.
He did a good job trying to close in here on Tim George, and
That's 2 to go.
right there on the back bumper.
That I believe was 2 to go, maybe 3. I believe 2, and we'll watch here. We should get the white flag this time around. Sure enough, white flag. So we can watch Tim. I think he kind of slips up in 1 and 2 and gives David this opportunity down at 3. Yep, there's that slip up. David closes in, kind of blocks the inside a little bit, and they know they're not going to get the championship at this point. I think David just gives him a slight tap, and I don't even
a little bit.
I don't even know if that was intentional from either one of those parties, but you see the calamity that ensues in turn 1, and it all got over that quickly with Zach Shucker as the champion. Just incredible stuff. Again, I'm impressed that it went by that quickly. We've had a couple of those races this season where they kind of drug on a little bit, but none of that this evening. We go ahead and I'll have to look around a little bit for our championship driver so we can at least find our champion this evening, Zach Shucker, who brings it home, second place. Zach, apparently you're going on that cruise.
Yeah, that would be great. Now you figure out which one to go on. That's the big question.
Well, I don't know personally where I would go, but I've heard that Mexico is pretty nice this time of year.
Yeah, that or Turks and Caicos, Caribbean, you know.
Hey, that's where my dad just got back from. I'm sure he'll be able to help you out with finding your way around there.
Oh, tell him send me some places to go then.
Absolutely, because you're going places with this championship win, my friend.
Thank you guys. Yeah, that was fun. I was shocked that somebody tried the pit super early and stay out with the fall off of the tires. But I mean, Brent, I think still finished 4th if I remember correct, even with that, and able to get around him on the restart after, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 laps fighting him on the outside. I had nothing for Steven though, so he was clean, and that's all I can ask. I tried to fight him as long as I could, and then I was like, nope, it ain't worth it anymore. So.
Well, you hung on to the bitter end there, racing with Steven and Travis and those guys. You got yourself 9 laps led, and I think that has to bring on a sense of accomplishment. While you didn't get the race win, you were still there, especially coming to the end. You led some laps. You can ride off into the sunset for this season, maybe literally on a boat. But how do you wrap up this whole 16-race season? You finally got your win at North Wilkesboro. We had all kinds of crazy races to get here. How do you wrap it all up as the season champion?
It was a roller coaster year. I was really struggling beginning of the year getting the grasp on this car because it does not suit what I want to do. And we started to figure out something, and then all the short track ringers showed up, and they were kicking everybody's butt. But I managed to get up to the front of the long-standing members, I'll say, and I kind of just started chipping away and started figuring out a couple things. And Wilkesboro, of course, the only race I win is the one race that Mr. Andrews' computer has an issue, and was not shown. So it's kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it's good that come the championship that was broadcast still. So that's the thing that really matters. Just keeping your head up, keep chipping away. Don't get down and out whenever you still have a way to fight.
Well, Zach, once again, congratulations. 9 laps led, a season well done. You showed up here at the very end of the season when it mattered, not only to be our points champion, but to end up winning through the format, which I think played out nicely. Zach, once again, congratulations. Hopefully, in whatever we have coming up next, hopefully we're talking to you a whole bunch.
I hope so, and I know we were having a conversation about possible experimental stuff, so we'll see what comes of that in a week or so.
We've got some stuff in the fold for sure, but Zach, you are our champion. Zach Shucker, riding off into the sunset, car 48, beautiful paint scheme as well. Job well done, congratulations.
It is not a pit stop TV paint scheme, though. Disappointed.
Next time.
Yes, next car, there should be one.
It's always that next time thing. Zach Shucker, though, our champion this season. We do want to grab a couple of the others before we wrap things up here this evening. We definitely want to... Let's grab Tim. He ends up coming across the line ahead of David Levine and talk with driver 00 after it's all said and done. Tim, a bit of a struggle out there. What was going on? You did come through the field, though, which I thought was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. I looped it during qualifying coming to start my second lap, so unfortunately that put me at the very back row to start the race. I felt like I was making some decent progress all the way through the field. Under the pit stop, wholesale missed my box. Had to back up into that. Didn't lose as many spots as I thought I was going to when it was all said and done after the pit stop. And then once I got past David and Traber, I just kind of fell into a rut, and that's where I finished the race.
Would it be fair to say that you needed a caution there at the end? I mean, do you think you had something for Zach and the rest of those guys if we had got a caution?
I definitely would have enjoyed a caution. I think I was definitely making the top side work a little bit better than most. I think a caution definitely would have helped to at least get me up to Shucker to maybe try to battle it out with a little wheel-to-wheel action to see if the outcome of the race would have been different.
Well, Tim, at the very least, it's good to talk to you one more time here to close the season. Congratulations on still a job well done. You were the number 1 seed. Most races won all season, even if it's been a little while. Hopefully we're talking to you in the future.
Thank you, sir. Keep it nice in here, and hopefully we'll get to have some more races broadcast by you in the future.
That's the goal. Tim George, car 00, is the second place finisher technically in the points. We're gonna grab one other guy, and we'll make this quick with David before we shut things down. One more chance to talk with driver 59. We had a real close battle between you and Tim, but let's even go before that, David. What was going on the choose there in that mid-race caution? It seems like Zach took advantage of going all the way to the front. You wanted to stay a little more conservative, stay down low. What was the thought process there, and do you wish you had it back?
Honestly, I don't think it changed much for me. Whoever was on the outside, I think it might have been Traber on that restart we got going on the bottom better, and third in line on the outside. That hole opened back up anyway, and I think it was Mekis. I think it was Mekis. I knew he was on older tires and he was going to be stacking up the bottom. To be honest, I didn't process it fast enough in the choose cone, but I don't think it made much of a difference at the end of it. I was still able to get to the top side and clear Brandon Marshall and try to take a crack at those guys up front, but it just wasn't there tonight.
Is there any one moment that, or even a couple of moments that you feel like maybe if you could have them back, you could have changed this result?
Maybe early in the race, probably could have given Zach the bumper and moved him up the track, but that's not how I like to try to race. And I do owe Tim an apology for getting into him at the end. Didn't want to turn him like that, but he definitely, made sure that I tried to straighten him back out and bailed on that. But definitely big congrats to Zach. We were commenting before the race that he was absolutely nowhere for the first third half of the season, and came back and put it all together for a strong finish. It's definitely well earned, deserved by him, and it's just a pretty good race, a lot of fun.
Something definitely clicked mid-season, but hey, David, you still got yourself a race win this season, a whole lot of finishes up front. Talk to us a good bunch, and hopefully we can keep that up in whatever comes next.
Yeah, definitely appreciate everything that you and Zach Murtis and everybody at Pit Stop TV has done for us this season. Lucky Motorsports Solutions and Elevated Performance. It's just been it was a great season. We've had our ups and downs, but on the whole, I think it's a whole lot more ups than it was downs for sure. And we definitely enjoyed going back and watching you guys on the broadcast the next day, and it's just been great. And hopefully, I know I'm going to echo Tim right here, but hopefully we can put something together in the future for some better racing. And if not, you and Murder's got to come race with us whenever you guys can.
I gotta go out there and race you and wreck you because I had $30 on you tonight, David. You let me down.
Dude, you should know better. You should know better.
What I want to know is who he's betting with.
An undisclosed source.
Oh, I mean,
That's
that's it's the easiest $30 loss I've ever witnessed.
Oh, that's not very nice, Andrew. You gotta take the. That sounds, Andrew, like you gotta take the Wall Crusher Motorsports helmet and put it back on and give it a shot yourself.
I'm not the resident wall crusher anymore. That goes to Zach Lindgren, who literally crushed a wall in your go-kart a number of years
My
ago.
goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll pass the crown.
I'll share that video up on the Pit Stop.
Stories from the garage, ladies and gentlemen.
It all devolves. It devolves? Yeah, it devolves here at the end of the season. David, good to talk to you one more time, and hopefully we can make things happen in the future.
Appreciate you guys, and yeah, I'll echo that. See you guys down the road.
Well, that's a season. Done up and dusted here, Zach. I gotta say, the rise you must elevate. Certainly rising above the rest, as we've said so many times this season. Zach Shucker with the championship. Job well done to Car 48. He played the season right. I don't even know if he played it. He just got hot when he needed to. He figured the car out when he needed to. He was suddenly there at the back end of the season, kind of like David said. Wasn't much of a factor early in this season, but finally got his win at race 13 at North Wilkesboro. Finally came alive when he needed to. I would say, really in the new year. From Texas on, he just showed up and I think put points together when he needed to in a really nice way. The first race that I feel like he should have won was Five Flags and maybe Daytona as well, and then he got it at North Wilkesboro, and it's been a Zach Shucker story since then. He put the points together we needed to, and other drivers were faltering, and well, he's your champion this evening, even with the format.
Yeah, and you can see there were a lot of great storylines, honestly, throughout this entire season. You had Tim George, who came alive in the first 3 races of the season, won Charlotte, Lakeland, and Langley, was able to really put it together, and we thought he was going to be the early championship favorite. And then later on in the season, he just started to fall apart a little bit. You had David Levine, who was roughly very consistent, I will say. David was very consistent throughout most of the season, was able to put a lot of great things together and, put himself in contention for the championship 4. You had Tyler Langenberg, who started coming to life a little bit towards the end of the season to put himself in the championship 4. Addison Cook, he started to pick it up just a little bit more towards the end of the season, tried to rally a little bit to make the championship 4, and ultimately he fell a little bit short, but just so many different headlines moving into different races and being able to showcase a lot of great things and potential for this series.
Absolutely. A lot of good storylines to close the season on, and to be a little bit candid, things are going a little bit of a different direction. We do not anticipate any more Tuesday night broadcasts here for Lucky Motorsports Solutions. It's kind of unknown where things are going. The talk is that we'll make something happen unbroadcasted on Monday nights, maybe a little organization between Pit Stop TV and our group and David Levine and Lucky Motorsports Solutions. We don't really know what's going on, but like I said, to be a little bit candid, it sounds like we want to make some stuff happen still Monday nights with some oval racing, so stay tuned. If you want to get involved with that, by all means, reach out to us at Pit Stop TV. But otherwise, for now, this is the end for this series, and these storylines and whatnot. It all kind of comes to a close this evening, which is bittersweet for sure. Wish it was going a different direction. Wish it was going to be continuing on, but at the same time, Where there are endings, there are always new beginnings, right? If you burn a forest down, that's going to allow new growth underneath, new trees to grow, new grasses and plants just in general, whatever. Animals will come back in. There's that cycle, right? It's that life cycle. Something will come from this, and I think it'll be really, really good still for us at Pit Stop TV and everybody else involved. I do want to give a big shout out, though, to everybody at LMS, Elevated Performance. It's been a great partnership, and hopefully we can make more things happen in the future. But in the meantime, Zach Murtis, as we have you back, let's talk about what's upcoming here at Pit Stop TV. Next up, Thursday evening, Leap Day here in 2024. We head out, well, right back here, actually. We're staying here in virtual Lucama, North Carolina. No travel involved for the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series on Thursday evening. That'll be a lot of fun. They went to, I gotta think now. I gotta use my noggin. We just broadcast it last Thursday. No, not Nashville Fairground Speedway. There we go. Nashville was a great race.
But you got it.
Yeah, eventually. Kind of like me trying to figure that racetrack out. Trevor Edwards went to Victory Lane. Really solid race. Really did enjoy it. But then Sunday, we head out to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, heading out west to Sin City for the first time in 2024 with the Icon Cup Series. That's going to be a special race, I think, for sure. First race for those guys on a more... I know Daytona is a traditional oval, but a more traditional oval with lifting and such, as opposed to just being flat out, go absolutely crazy and race to the end, more or less, at Daytona. Things will be a little bit different at Las Vegas. Race 2 for those guys, and then, well, what do you know? Daytona right back on the schedule for us with the SARG Super Speedway Series trucks at the big old tri-oval down in Daytona Beach. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, things keep on going from there. But Zach, it was good to have you back. Do you still remember this part with the social media?
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I think I can figure out a little bit, but there are so many great ways to watch Pit Stop TV, so many great ways to follow along with everything we got going on here. Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV. You can't see it, but I keep making these little finger movements every time I do an underscore. It's so much fun. Twitter.com/PitStopTV_, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV. Finally back on Twitch after a few, little time off from Twitch, but hey, we're back. Everything's popping now. We're on all these platforms now. YouTube.com/PitStopTV1, the main place to watch Pit Stop TV, the main place to catch all this racing action, and Kick.com/PitStopTV1, our latest place to watch all of the racing action, and so much racing action going on. Unfortunately, like you said, Andrew, we're leaving this series behind, but like you said, all good things must come to an end, and with end comes new beginnings. So, like Andrew said, if you guys want to hang out with a lot of these great guys who are racing here tonight, shoot us a message here at Pit Stop TV, and we'll be happy to refer you to the league, and hopefully you'll be able to have some fun racing with these guys.
I think there's a song about that, and we might, well, I don't know if I want to bring it up, because I don't know what the copyright's going to do. I was going to play it. I'm kind of now thinking about it. Maybe I won't. But there's a song about it. Closing Time, right? Ring a bell? Maybe that's...
Not really.
That doesn't ring a bell for you?
It does not.
You've worked at a restaurant recently. That's like the perfect place to play it. You've never heard Closing Time.
I have not.
Am I going crazy? I know I'm not going crazy. I can't be.
The same as the cleanup song.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
What's
the cleanup song?
I can't remember, and I don't want to embarrass myself, to be perfectly honest.
I would play it, but I don't want to risk the copyright. Anyways, it has been a fantastic season. We'll try to save it here. A big shout out to Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, and CC's Business for helping these broadcasts be possible. Of course, the groups that'll be populating right there, bottom of your screen as well, allowing these broadcasts to be possible. It has been a pleasure all season long. Closing time or not, this will be it for us for this season, this series, at least for now. Thank you so much for watching. Zach, thank you for being here. Until next time, hopefully you join us Thursday evening right back here at Southern National. Super late models with the Sarah Super Series. We'll see you there.